Hi, welcome to the Inspire View series. This is an interview series that I created. I'm in my third year. So the inspiration came a little bit over 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago, actually. And my whole purpose and mission with this series is to interview women who have followed their passions and do what they love and feel is really important in this world. And because it really lights you up inside when you're sharing and you're doing things that you're passionate about. My name is Cherrise Boucher. I am a Momentum Strategy coach and a Get Shit Done partner. I'm all about that, making sure you get your ideas out into the world with no excuses. Today on my series is this beautiful woman who we connected last year sometime, and Finally, we are actually doing this interview, and I'm so excited about it because she is making her mark with a brilliant and important message and education in this world. So Doretta Gadsden, I said that correctly, right? Gadsden.
Yes,
Because the two D's throw me off a little bit.
it throws everyone off. Or most people, yeah.
Yeah. She has been a registered nurse for 23 years, a very honorable profession, I must say. She is an Amazon bestselling author of the book Living Victoriously: Strategies to Empower Women with a Chronic Diagnosis. Doretta is a graduate of Bronx Community College. Her passion is to inspire women in realizing the power within to live their best life despite life's challenges. Doretta has lived with AIDS for over 23 years and has a hunger to educate women in making positive health choices. She and her husband, Glenn, live in Brooklyn, New York. So welcome, Doretta.
Thank you. And
This is
we finally got together.
I know, I'm so excited. This is a super important topic. And like I've mentioned before, that we've mentioned a couple times, I believe, but even before we started recording, like AIDS isn't as prevalent in communication and media and everything as it was when it first appeared to me. I remember back like in the late 70s or so, and then the 80s, and then there are stigmas around it and everything. So I feel that what you're doing is like so massively important to keep it in the forefront because it still exists. We have not cured AIDS or eliminated it. And so the risk is still there, right?
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about how this whole journey even began for you. I mean, 23 years is a really long time. And of course, people think, we've seen pictures of the tragedy that can occur with people who suffer from AIDS and everything. But you are a healthy looking woman and we would never know. So, right. So share, I mean, there's like a million questions within that, I think.
Everybody says that. It's
like,
a million things I want to ask you.
Yeah, it's like, how did you get AIDS? I guess that's probably the number one question that everybody's going to wonder. So we'll just jump in and say
I could start there. In the early 80s, I was an IV drug abuser. I had been an incest survivor, and I was depressed and looking for some way to medicate myself, and I became an IV drug abuser. I started sniffing and then it progressed to IV drug abuse. In the 80s, right around 83, my friends started dropping dead. Literally, it felt like overnight from what they were calling pneumonia. But I said, pneumonia doesn't kill you that fast, one. Two, it's different people dying from this pneumonia from different walks of life. The only thing we had in common was this place we shot drugs. Some people lived upstate, some people lived in Long Island, which were affluent communities. Some people lived in Bed-Stuy. So the only thing we had in common was the shooting gallery. So I thought, I don't know what they're calling this, a pneumonia. It's something in those needles. So I stopped. And I started getting my life together, got off drugs. That was a long process, but it worked. I stopped shooting drugs in the 80s, 83. But then I snorted drugs, heroin and cocaine until like around 88. So I just went on. I got into nursing school, and in 90, I'm just doing it fast forward, a rapid. In 93, I graduated. And I graduated in June, and I got accepted on this small age unit where I had been working as a nurse a day. They said, oh, Doretta, you graduated. We have a position on this age unit, a small age unit. I just knew I was going to heal everybody on the unit with my compassion and love.
Yeah.
So it was ugly then. Like you said, it was ugly. People had Kapote sarcoma, big, blisters and wounds on their bodies, not knowing who they was, if it, attacked their brain. It was ugly. Now, the difference between now and then, it's not ugly. You can't see it, but I get to that.
Okay.
So, like a month or so after I worked on the unit, the supervisor came and said, I want everyone to be tested because I don't want you to get exposed here. And in that moment, I said, oh my God. Because in the back of my mind, I knew there was risk because of the people that I had lost 10 years prior in 83. So I knew I could have it, but I didn't entertain the thought. Like, it really could happen to me. And so then I went and got tested, and I was HIV positive. A week later, one of the nurses that I shared with on the unit took me to my doctor, because at first I was tested anonymously. Then she took me to him with the head of infectious disease at Cabrini. Now he's part of Mount Sinai, and he tested me under my name. When the test came back, I not only was HIV positive, I had AIDS, because if you have T cells under 200, you're diagnosed. Back then, CDC keeps changing it, so I don't know about now, but back then, if you had that T cells under 200, you were diagnosed with AIDS. So I not only was HIV positive, I had AIDS, and within a couple of months, I started getting sick because for years, I wouldn't take any drugs because I've always been an alternative health person.
Right.
I like herbs, I like meditation, I like tapping. Give me that. Yeah. My body working as a nurse and having the virus and knowing the power of the mind is something. Yeah. And all of that, then I started getting sick. And then I'm still here. So, I just kept, I pulled myself together. I took meds for a short period, and then I stopped and just did alternative stuff. And to this day, I still go in and out. If I see my T cells going down, I will go back on my medication. But I have gone years without taking traditional medication.
Wow.
So that has worked for me, and I always share that. Don't do what I do. I'm sharing my story. That's all I'm sharing is Doretta's story. I never tell anybody how to take care of their health. That's my message. You have to decide what a diagnosis means to you and how you are going to deal with it. Not how your doctor tells you. You should research how you're going to handle what's running through your body.
Right.
If you get something and you say that has to be your end. I knew how my patients were dying. I wasn't going out like that. I didn't know how I wasn't, but I knew I wasn't. I knew that I had other stuff to do. I was not dying like that.
Right.
Was not. People thought I was crazy. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm not. That's 23 years later, I'm still here.
That's incredible.
So, and I always tell people, if you diagnosed with diabetes, don't look at all your friends that lost their limbs or their eyes or they're on dialysis. Look at, okay, I have diabetes. You don't have it. You were diagnosed with diabetes. Okay, I have a diagnosis of diabetes. How am I going to deal with it? What does it mean to me? Not what it meant to your aunt or your mother or your friend or everybody that you hear about it on TV. What does it mean to you? Yeah. And what are you going to do about empowering yourself to keep your life going and living a full life? I hope I answered your question. Yeah. I can get on a rant chat now.
Yeah. That is so important because I believe that too. The power of thought and your beliefs and faith that something else can work because, but for you, like your initial, were you positive right at the get-go? Like, oh, I just have AIDS. Like, I'm going to fix this. Or were you like, holy shit? Like,
no, well, let me tell you this story. It's definitely in my book. So when I was diagnosed, I'm going to tell you I'm a meditator. So I meditated that morning before I went. And in my spirit, Cherrise, it's like I heard God, my higher power, whatever, I call it God, tell me, you have it, but you're going to be okay. So I was like, I called somebody who was going to go with me, and I said, wait, you got to give me some more time because I heard something in my meditation. It was wrong, so I'm got to go back and sit and hear the right thing. Right. But anyway, when I walked into the testing center, it was this guy who was supposed to give me my test. And he was just somebody from the 12-step program. And I have nothing wrong with 12-step program, but I could tell he was going to throw some slogan at me.
Right.
I didn't want to hear any slogan, and he was going to tell me I was HIV positive. So I seen this woman. She was like in a loft. It seemed like I think it was stairs that got to her office, that led to her office that was like encased in glass. So I was like, and my spirit just said, I want her to give me my results. He said, she's the director of the program. She don't give results. I was like, well, I'm walking out if she doesn't. So I could see him talking to her, and she had an attitude. So she came, and she took my clip, and she walked in the office with me and told me to come on. And so she sat down. I said, could I take a deep breath? And so before I could breathe, I remember lifting my hand like if it was yesterday. I remember breathing like, and before I could get my hand back to my chest, she said, you're positive, but you knew that, right? And she said it just like that. Like, I don't need to be here. This is not my job. But I think, Cherrise, that my reaction, and I didn't move, shifted her to a whole different place of being gentle, kind, and present for me. Because when she told me that, I went through a tunnel in my mind. You ever see that when people are talking to someone on TV and they go, da, da, and it's like they're in a tunnel? I was in a tunnel. Like, I could hear her, but she was far away.
Right.
And my life was flashing in front of me. Like, I just graduated nursing school. And then I started seeing all the people on my unit and all my friends that had died. Like, I know, God, you are not doing this to me. I know this is not happening. I know it ain't. So, but then she kept talking because she shifted from this impatient person to someone of compassion. And I could hear her say, don't believe everything you read. What if she kept asking me, what if you could believe that the same strength that got you off drugs could help you live through this? What if you believed that AIDS wasn't what they say it is? What if you entertained that? And then she started shuffling papers on her desk to show me of all the studies that what other people were saying. She got me involved in. She had all these places to send me. When I walked out of her office, yes, I was still shocked, but I was empowered.
Mm.
It's like everything I knew because I'm a Unity student. So I believe in the power of the thought and the power of what you say to yourself.
Right.
But in that moment, I had forgot all of that.
Right.
So, but my intuition had me surround myself with somebody that could hold the space and give me what I already knew. Had that guy been my counselor, I would have left it devastated. I wouldn't have been able to regroup so fast because I followed my intuition and picked her. She held the space for me in those moments. And I really feel like with all the pamphlets she gave me and all the directions of places to go that thought like I thought, a big part of that is why I'm still here.
Isn't that incredible?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So do you work with other healthcare professionals in this kind of like devastating diagnosis?
I don't. I do workshops on my own. I don't work with anyone else. My first symposium, I'm invited to speak at a symposium on the 24th. That'll be my first one with other doctors and nurses. I haven't done any with other organizations.
I think like that story is such a powerful message, like the deliverance of a diagnosis that can be devastating for so many people. But if you deliver it differently, because everybody knows, I mean, we can Google stuff in 2 seconds. We can see all the horrible side of things, and you have to dig further to see the positive, you know, and the less devastating outcomes of things. It's not going to be the first in your search results.
That's true. It's not.
So I think that's a huge message for the healthcare industry and the people who have to deliver that horrible news. I'm sure they don't like to do it, you know, which is probably why she had an attitude too, you know, I got out of that. I've delivered enough bad news. That's not part of my job anymore.
Right.
And, but to have that, to switch it to a positive outlook, because I think that initial reaction and how, like you said, how that shifted your whole perception. And if that other man had given you that, you already knew that you would have walked out of there with a much less than positive outlook on what was going to happen. I don't
know if I would have had a less than positive, because I believe eventually I would have regrouped, because like I said, I'm a Unity student, so I know how to affirm but I wouldn't have not have left with friends indeed. There was a very big part, organizations was a very big part of where I spent most of my time after that. It was predominantly gay white men, but I saw people healthy. I saw people using alternative therapies. That's where I learned about my alternative therapies. I learned about meditation on a deeper level.
Yeah.
I learned about the power of body work, which is tapping, which I knew about tapping, but I went into it more. And a massage and all the things that are my tools. Pills are not my tools.
Yeah.
They're my tools, and my body starts going crazy after I done worked real hard or got stressed out. And my body, like my doctor told me a couple of weeks ago, your T cells are dropping rapidly. It's about time you do something. Because I've been with him 23, 24 years. He knows I don't do medication on a consistent level. But I also have been undetectable. In times like, let's say I was on a medication, Calitra. I was supposed to take 2 pills every day. I took 1 pill 3 times a week, and I was undetectable.
Wow.
So you see, they're over-medicating. I hope they don't sue me, but I'm saying this is my story.
Right.
So how am I undetectable taking 1 pill 3 times a week, and you telling me to take 2 twice a day? How?
Right.
Finally, I spoke for him at which he has me speak to the class of doctors, medical students, every so often. And the last time my book came out last year, I spoke with, about maybe 7 or 8 months ago. And he told me before we went in, you're probably alive because you didn't listen to me. Girl, you could have knocked me over with a feather. I was like, finally you're admitting it?
Yeah.
Finally. He said, we didn't know what we were doing. We were just trying different things. And there was another person there, a doctor. I'm a nurse. It was a doctor, one of his students. He followed everything he told him. He has no feeling in his legs, no feeling in his feet, or kind of other injuries from following everything he said. I was not doing that. I wasn't. And some people thought, oh, you're playing with your life. This is my life to play with. This is my choice. And he said, you still have your kidney and your liver. And I'm not saying I haven't gone through some sicknesses. I have been in the hospital up to 3 months because I've gone too far, like really pushed the limit when my body was, and I didn't go back on meds. Oh, I don't want to, So I have gone, I'm not going to say I haven't because I have.
Yeah.
But I also have my kidney and my liver intact.
Wow.
That's, So I don't tell people not, I tell people to find their way.
Yeah.
If it's meds, be it. It's not, it wasn't my way. Yeah. And I don't think it'll ever be my way. When I need them, I take them. And he always say, oh, it's 23 years now. But he's always say, oh, you're going to get resistant. They still trying to find out why I'm not resistant. Because when I go back, my T cells go down. My T cells go up, my viral load goes down. They don't understand that. And they saying that. They don't understand why some people could be undetectable and don't get resistant and some can. Keep figuring it out, but not on me.
Right. I truly believe too that it is a power of your mind and your mindset. And I think if you feel like it, like within your cells, that there is something else, there's another way to do this, and that you wholeheartedly believe it. I've read incredible stories of people who have used meditation to cure cancer, like stage 4 cancer and stuff, really bad cancer that they had, just months to live, but they tried this route because they figured, what else do they have to lose, right? They're trying it and it worked, and it's absolutely incredible. Does that work for everybody? Probably not.
That's why I say you have to find your path.
Right.
Each person, they have to find their own individual path. They have to pray. They have to be still. I believe that we have a guide within us. I don't believe God lives in the sky. I believe God, our guide, lives within us. And if we meditate and get still, we're divinely led. What happened? That day I was going to be tested. What did my guide tell me? You have it, but you're going to be all right. 20 years, 23 years later, I'm all right.
Yeah.
I had the answer then. I wanted another answer. That wasn't going to happen because I was positive. I went back in. I didn't get no other answer but what was the first answer.
Right.
So we know we are led to do, the right thing. We're so busy. We don't believe in getting still. A lot of us, we're too busy to get still. Even myself these days, I don't. I have to be up against the wall. Like, okay, I forgot to meditate for the last 4 days. No, it's still,
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard in a busy life. You have to really make it a habit. And I think if people are starting to want to do something like that, like meditation, or like I talk about energy resets, right? And the massive importance of doing them even once a day. But if doing them more than once a day is even good, because you get little signals in your body that tell you need to do this, right? And it can take 5 minutes, but it's a break to still yourself and breathe
and regroup.
Yeah. And that's massively important. So if people are just starting to want to do this, you could set a little reminder, like on your phone.
A little reminder, and you could just commit to when you're feeling stressed or your stomach's tight or you're feeling ready to cut somebody out or do something that's out of character. Just breathe 3 times. Yeah. That's simple. Just stop and take 3 slow, deep breaths. That's a reset.
Yes.
You'll be surprised at what you think, how you think differently after the end of those 3 breaths.
Yeah.
Like you're like, I don't want to have to apologize to nobody. I don't want to feel stressed out for the rest of the day. I don't want to make that decision. It really regroups you, like a reset, like you said.
It's massively powerful. It is, and then problem solving comes easier, and all kinds of things.
Your mind is more clear.
Yeah. Do you feel? So you've said you've had times where you've been really sick.
Oh yes, I was in the hospital for pneumonia, PCP, for shingles. I've been tried. Trust me. Has not always been easy.
Yeah.
Because I have pushed it to the point where I had no T cells, like 50.
Wow.
The body can't function on that, and you work in a full-time job. You stress. Right. Nothing is stressful.
Right.
So yeah, my body has literally collapsed. Up until I think the last time it happened was I worked around the World Trade Center, smelling that stuff, and working and not taking meds was too much for my body. I had to go through that smell. The World Trade Center is right here. My patient was really across the street from, and I had to give him infusions every day.
Oh.
And it was a gay guy, and we became friends. And one day I was sick in his house, and he said, "Doretta, what's wrong?" And girl, Cherrise, I was so tired, and I felt so weak that I was honest. I said, "Such and such," I can't say his name, but I have AIDS just like you. And he just, you know how they talk. He was like, "Are you crazy? You're not on meds." To this day, I can't remember how he got me to the hospital, but he got me to the hospital. And not only did he get me to the hospital, he came to visit me. My husband and the doctor said, how do you get your patient to visit you? Isn't this a kind of twist around? We became friends,
Yeah.
Anyway, and that was the first time I really started taking medication. And that was Kalitra, but I did not take it like I was supposed to, or not supposed to. How they prescribed, I took it like I felt. I was undetectable for many years.
Yeah.
Like recently, I wasn't undetectable, but my viral load was low, and then it started going up. So recently, I started taking my meds again, a couple times a week. So I'm supposed to be get another lab test in July. So I feel better. A couple of weeks ago, I didn't feel good. I could tell my body was like, "Hello, I need some help here. I know you don't like the medication, but take it for a little while."
Yeah, I think that's incredible. Yeah. So then, obviously, another thing that comes up with such a diagnosis for something such as AIDS, or a lot of things, I'm sure, is especially AIDS, because there's this stigma, right, that's going to come around it. So a lot of people would be cautious or in denial or just not even wanting to tell people about it because of how the potential reaction, and sometimes true, like we make up our own stories in our heads, of what's going to happen. So then we don't do it because we've got this story, which ends up not being true anyway when we actually do. But how was it for you in your own experience, telling family or friends that this was your diagnosis, and that, like, did they already know that you had been an IV drug user?
Yeah, everybody knew I had been an IV drug abuser. I was a black sheep in my family. I was the talk of the dinner table. So everybody knew I was the lost child. I was lost. Right. You know, the incest experience troubled me in a way, you know,
Right.
it affected me. And I searched, and drugs were my way to cope.
Mm-hmm.
So they knew that. And then I told everybody. I didn't keep it a secret. Because for me, you was accepting me whole, or you wasn't going to accept me. That was important to me. I can't do phony.
Yeah.
That's just me, though.
Right.
Some people, I have friends, good friends, like I've shared with you. Their whole family don't know. I could not even imagine that. And see, my family is knowledgeable. They educated themselves. My husband and I have large Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners here. Everybody come through that door. No, but they know they can't get affected by me cooking. You have to have, it's breast milk, it's blood, you know, it's blood to mucous membrane. So you have to have sex, breast milk, or IV drug, intravenous drugs. So they're not doing any of those things with me. So
right.
Hello, nobody cares, you know.
Right.
Thank God.
Do you find that even that we've gone through, you know, decades where AIDS has been around and known about, that people still are not educated in how you can contract it?
Yes. And that's why I do a Facebook Live every so often, or excuse me, Periscope, because people, especially it's growing in the young community and the people over 50, because many people are not aware that how you can get it, how it's transmitted. They really believe it's still a gay thing, or you have to look a certain way. They don't know it's real clean today. You can never tell who has it.
Right.
And then, so I do a lot of education around that. It's a lot of ignorance.
So you find, like, what ages are you finding? Like teenagers,
young people, and people over 50. I had someone 89. I had someone in her 70s, had 8 kids, and I think that hurts my heart most of all when they get it. It bothers me, period, if somebody getting it can't handle it, or just getting it, and it's something that you don't want.
Right.
Whether we have meds now or not, because now, if you want to take meds, you have a host of them. Before, it was AZT, and that was it. They would experiment, and they didn't know. Like my doctor said, they didn't know what they were doing in the beginning.
Right.
Now they kind of they have it down. I feel like they know better what they're doing.
But so kids, okay, so
young people, because you know they think they're invincible anyway, but they're not.
Yeah, they do.
We're talking about my grandson that I raised.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as he's in college now, and now he has a baby. How did you have a baby if you practice safe sex?
Yeah.
And come on now.
Right.
You done lost one aunt, and you done lived with me. But see, he didn't see ugly. He didn't see ugly. All he saw was Nana. She works every day. She takes me to Walt Disney. She does this. You know, it's not ugly to them. That's the danger, to be quite honest, because they don't see what we saw years ago.
Right.
The wasting.
Yeah.
They don't see the way the medication feels. They don't see that it could bring on depression. They can't feel that, or they can't see it because they don't know what you feel taking it. They just think, oh, please, it's cute. It's not.
Right.
It could bring on some ugliness in your life.
Yeah.
Still.
I'm sure.
But not ugly like it was before, thank God. You know, people are not dying in a couple of months like before.
That's like incredible. That's amazing that we've come that far where people would die so quickly and horribly.
But you know what? You have to give the gay community their props, because they were loud and they were going to get some answers and go get some help. And it's their power and their union and their determination while we have all these drugs and while we have all these education on alternative therapies, because many of them use alternative therapies too. Because that's how I learned it at Friends Indeed, which is basically gay white men.
Right.
Organization for them. I was the other women, a couple of other women were there, and their voice was powerful. They wasn't sitting back and letting it wipe them out. They were not gonna have it.
That's good. I mean, that's empowering to know that when you're just like not going to tolerate this.
Like, you're gonna have to come up with something.
We're fixing this. We're fixing this somehow, and and it has been an incredible advancements, obviously. And I love that, because alternative stuff used to be very hippie-ish back in the day. And you know, not that I experienced that, because I was really little in the 70s. And but you know, the mainstream people, and it's come a long way too, the meditation and herbal remedies and all kinds of, you know, different modalities that you can use to
it's being used just as much or more than traditional medication.
Yeah.
But a new generation, the elderly are not doing it. But the younger people, we go for alternative before we go for medication.
Yeah.
Because we want to live long life.
Yeah. And mindset, your mindset and your beliefs and your feeling within you, I think it's just like the most powerful thing, really. And it like you said, if you're meditating, you're getting guidance from within without, kind of the bigger picture, but you have to be still and listen, because I think that guidance will definitely tell you like the path you should take. And if it is medication, then it is medication.
Exactly. Like I know a couple of weeks ago that, okay, it was time. I needed to go back on my medication. So I just did. I poured a whole week's worth. I think I was doing it consistently for about 2 weeks. I started feeling better. And now I'm still taking it like 3 times a week. And I'm going to see what my labs are. I listen. I got stuff to do. Ain't nothing going to happen.
Do you think that stress, because you are so busy, is it stress that really kind of triggers that?
Oh, yes, for sure. Yeah. And my job, I'm a visiting nurse, so my job is very stressful because I have the patients. And then I also have the managed care part and all of that I have to negotiate. So it's stressful. Then I'm trying to run I have speaking engagements or a book to promote. So yes, it's different things.
Yeah. Yeah, you're just a lady
Stress
on the go.
plays a very big part of it. Yes.
Yeah. So that's important to note too. I mean, people always say that, oh, stress can affect your physical health. Stress can affect your physical health. And I've told some friends of mine, colleagues, you know, who are like, go, 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 go. You know, they're a mom, they're working a full-time job, they're working, you know, on a side job, like doing all this stuff. And I'm like, if you don't stop and give yourself some time, you're going to get sick. And then it's like, I'm magical, and because they get sick. So it was like I said it, you know, and didn't like knock on wood afterwards. But it's like, I'm serious. If you don't, you've got to slow down sometimes. And it's difficult for some people to do. But I mean, that happened to me when I was in college. I finally had like this aha moment that stress was making me sick. I would like break out in hives and I'd like vomit and stuff, you know, because I was stressed out over perfectionism, turning projects in and things like that. And there was no reason for why these things were happening to me other than stress. And when I had that aha moment, I just started letting it go. I was like, tomorrow's going to come, whether I'm prepared or not. All I can do is the best that I can do. And that has never happened to me again since. So stress is a very powerful thing. So you have to counteract it with the opposite, right?
The opposite, and how I do it is like, I take walks. I haven't been consistent with my meditation. I just started back a couple of days ago because I have been real busy. But journaling has helped me. My walking, my practice of taking 3 breaths. Yeah. I regroup. You call it reset. I regroup. If I'm getting anxious or I'm going to see a patient who I know is going to be a challenge, I think it's so important, because if we don't reset throughout the day, it's almost like you're driving a machine constantly, and that machine is going to break down. Right. And so if you don't slow down and care for your body is shut down on its own. Yeah. And then that's why you're in the bed for 7 days with the flu or whatever. Right. It's not from a bug, because that bug you could have thrown off had you taken care of yourself. Exactly. But now you didn't. Kind of like I felt a couple. I had been running, not taking care of myself, not eating right, This is stuff I know how to do. I was juicing every morning. Now I'm back to that. Just regrouping, doing the things I know how to do. We have toolboxes.
Yes,
That's
we
how
do.
we get so busy. We throw the toolboxes away. I don't even call them toolboxes. I call them treasure chests. And we're always in those treasure chests. In that treasure chest, my treasure chest is full of meditations. It's full of journaling. It's full of all kind of good stuff. Tapping. I get busy. I forget all that.
Yeah.
I run in the shower, throw on my clothes. I'm out the door. Seeing patients all day. Coming and literally fall the heck out. My husband had to wake me up. See, you can't do that and have the virus. You can't do that and have AIDS. Are you kidding me? And then my doctor's like, listen, something's happening here. And I'm looking over my weeks. I'm like, I can't keep doing this. I'm end up in the hospital. And that would freak me out to go back and, I haven't been in the hospital in years. So that I was like, okay. And we pull dust. I have piles and piles of medication. My husband dates them for me. He said, you got to take them in order so they won't get thrown away. You know?
Right,
so
right.
Like, okay. So I pulled the ones out that should be taken first, you know.
Right,
and I've been taking them, as best as I can.
Yeah. I think.
But stress is a killer.
Yeah.
Heart attack, depression, all of that. Because it's not good for you.
No, it's not. It's not. And it is because we're human. It's hard to be, conscious of taking that time and because we're busy and we don't have time to take time out, and all that. But we really
have time
do.
for everyone else though.
Yeah. Yeah, we do have time.
I give my patients all the time they need. Why can't I give myself 30 minutes a day?
Right. Yeah. It's excuses. We just put ourselves last, unfortunately. And that's a big thing that we need to shift around. Because if you're sick, you can't be there for your patients. You can't be there for your husband and the rest of your family. So it is important to put ourselves first.
It is. Like this morning, I knew I was going to have you. Then at 12 o'clock, we pre-launching the book. I'm a part of an anthology. So I made sure I made a pot of quinoa. So when I finish, I'm going to make a healthy breakfast. I already had a green drink. So it's about preparation is everything as well.
Yeah.
Like if you get up in time enough to do a little meditation or a little walking or a little tapping if you tap or whatever your ritual is. And we need to do that for ourselves.
Yeah.
I heard myself say that. So I gotta stay on track too.
Yeah, like you'll be all over it now.
Yeah. I was determined to get a good breakfast though. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's important
be busy,
too.
Yes.
I know I'm guilty of having a cup of coffee and then waiting till lunch to do something, but I try to be a little bit more conscious of that too.
God, when I go over, Cherrise, and if I walk out here and because I have healthy food in my house, but don't let me walk outside and didn't eat. There I go with the bialys. I don't eat white flour, but now I want a bialy with butter and a little jelly. That's so off of my
Yeah.
How did I just eat that? No, it's nothing nutritious in there.
Yeah.
But see that preparation. When we don't prepare, we go down the deep end.
Yeah.
Something we regret. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I'm going to have something ready for me this morning and for lunch. Yeah. Preparation.
Oh my gosh. I feel like we could talk for I don't even know how long, but because this is such a big topic and so important. And so, but I want to touch on you have a book already that you've mentioned that you published last year. I do remember seeing you promote that too. And that's all about your personal story.
Yeah. Living Victoriously, if that's the name of my podcast as well as coming out in July.
Yeah.
That's the foundation of my business. That's the part of my life that we're talking about. It's my message to women. It's my story. And I go through each part. How I was diagnosed, my doctor. I go through finding a support group. I guide the woman who has recently been diagnosed or somebody who knows somebody could use the book. And I guide you through each chapter has questions and exercises for you to do. Because it's a whole series for you to live a healthy life with a diagnosis, life-changing, a scary diagnosis.
Right.
You have to have things in order. You have to take time to find a good doctor that's going to listen to you. You have to find a support system, people that's going to listen to you and not put their fears on you.
Right.
Because your families will put their fears on you in a second, telling you what medications you must take, yada, yada, yada.
Right.
Or you have to, make sure you have your questions for your doctor. Make sure you have the proper not the proper, I can't say in this country, I can't say the proper healthcare plan, because we already know that's going out the window. It's sketchy, and each state is different.
Yeah.
But you have to find a doctor that's going to hear you. You have to be aware of your beliefs about. I got guide you through all of that. Support system. Redefining your life now. My life pre-AIDS and post-AIDS is two different people. You know, I think differently. I care for myself differently. I value life more. I've always valued life, but it's more important to me, my time with my family.
Yeah.
My grandkids. And the book talks about my journey, but each chapter is taking you through a different step of living with the life-changing diagnosis.
Yeah, I love that, because if somebody's just recently diagnosed with something that's going to be life-changing, it can be overwhelming, and you don't know what to do first. So I think that the way you laid that out is perfect as a guidance for people, so that they're prepared. Again, the preparation.
And there you go.
Yeah.
Because even knowing what to ask the doctor and what you should expect from your doctor. Like, I know I have the top of the line. God bless me with telling a woman that I worked with, Joanne is her name. God puts people in our life. Look how he put the woman in the testing site in my presence.
Right.
He put Joanne in my presence to get me to Dr. Mullen, who's been with me. And God knows, he tells me every gray hair he has is because of me. Because I don't listen to anything he has to say.
Yeah.
And the one day he got an alternative therapy book, he said, guess what I got? And I said, what? And so he showed me the alternative therapy book. I'm like, it took this long? All these years. But anyway, all these years. And I have a chapter about that. You find it, if you choosing your medication, if you want to, or researching alternative therapies. What's integrative? Like, I do integrative right now. I still do all my tapping and my herbs and my green drinks and all the stuff that works for me. But I also am taking my traditional medication right now. So it's integrative. You don't have to isolate one or the other. That's your choice. And I go through that in the book as well.
Wow.
The things that got me here.
Yeah.
I go through all of that.
Yeah.
And the people that got me here. You know, the people that poured in me. My husband, this woman named Maggie, who, you know, was in my life when I was 13. But I feel like the seeds that she planted in me around my incest, about me not defining myself around what my father had did to me. Because when your father, someone who is assigned by life to take care of you, doesn't, and violates you in that way, you start to think you're defective. Right. Until somebody else tells you it's them that has the issue, not you. And she was the first person to do that in my life. The women in my family were too afraid, I feel, of my father. Or not afraid, but didn't know. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to handle it. Yeah. I think they were really perplexed. You know, my grandmother, before she died, she told me she knew that I was telling the truth, but she just didn't want her son to go to jail. Could I please understand her? I had already forgiven her because she had never mistreated me. So I knew it had. I was more angry with the women that were younger than my grandmother, my stepmother, my aunt, and in a love way, my mother, who, you know, that's a whole nother story. But she was very young when she had me. So I talk about all of that. The people like Maggie, like Sue. Now, the woman in the testing site, I never knew her name. Because everybody always says, do you know her, who she is? Nope, I never saw her again. But I give her the name Susan in my book because she deserves a place in my life. Yeah. She really does, because I walked out there with tools I would not have had. I would not have known of Friends Indeed. And Friends Indeed was my foundation. I surrounded myself by gay white men who knew how to live. Yeah. Yes, I was there with those that died, but there's a whole lot of them that were living. Yeah. A whole lot of them that was trying alternative medication. They were just pumping AZT in people. So that was my lifeline. Had I not chose her, had I not followed my intuition, I would have gone down another path of feeling hopeless, and I only had AZT. But she gave me, you know, I wish I could hug her, to be honest, but I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. I know. I wonder how you could find out who that. You'd have to like. And the clinic is not even there. I passed it. Oh, it's not even there anymore. Not even there. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
But
one of
God,
those
life is
mystery
blessing her.
angels. Yeah, it's one of those.
But see, I have so many. I believe my doctor is one.
Yeah,
I believe another doctor would have been dismissed me. He
right.
would have left. You're not listening to any. My doctor works with me. He gives me leeway.
Yeah, that's
He'll say,
important.
"Oh yes."
You've got to
And I
find
talk about that in
someone.
the book.
Hmm.
I have friends whose doctors have fired them. Let them go because they didn't listen to what they had, what they their value, their desires. My
Yeah,
doctor has never done that. He's always said, and I'm, like, you're gonna get sick of it. And I would say, and you're gonna be right here to take care of me, so I'm okay. As long as I got you and God and me, we're gonna be all right. He didn't want to hear that. But he knows that I think he respects my past because he's always having me in his classes to
yeah,
talk. So I think it's a part of me that he admires, even
yeah,
though it's a part that is not in his brain as far as how he was trained,
of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, but I bet that because of you, he's much more open
Oh, I believe so.
to
Oh, for
what
sure.
can happen. So,
Yes.
so it's benefited him for you to
I
be in
believe
his
so.
life too.
Exactly. It has been, yeah. He's a very big part of the book. I gave him one. I was like, see, you're in here reading it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then now you mentioned also an anthology that you're a part
Yes,
of that's
it
coming
launches
out.
today at 12 o'clock.
Oh, yay.
The pre-sale launches at 12 o'clock.
Okay.
And in that book, my chapter is about how I've lived with depression. Depression has been because of the incest, has been a very big part of my life. And I ebb and flow in and out of that. It doesn't go.
Right.
I could talk more positively about AIDS than I can depression. Depression has weighed on me in many ways. It has been almost like I'm carrying something else. And in that chapter, I talk about the incest. I talk about how I didn't like myself. I talk about how I deal with depression. I don't believe in medication. So I share how I deal with it. I could say with confidence, Cherrise, I'm going to live to the end of this epidemic with AIDS. I haven't gotten to the point in my life that I could say that about depression. Because it ebbs and flows. It comes at me. Your show. I feel like it's so important for people to say where they are. Because even though I'm a coach and I'm a speaker and I have 2 books and all this, I still go through stuff.
Yeah.
If I get up and I get out and I get dressed and I get in front of my patients, they're almost my endorphins because now I'm in my element. I'm able to teach and instruct. Give me some diabetes. A new diabetic? Oh, baby, I don't work that out. Because I could teach you. I love teaching about diabetes for some reason. I guess because my mother's dead, my father's blind from it. My brother-in-law died.
So that's affected your life too.
Oh, my God.
That's a life-changing diagnosis as well.
Exactly. So I can teach us some diabetes. And every day I get somebody who's eating the wrong thing. And they're like, oh, God, here she comes. Here she comes. Hide all the rice.
Yeah. They're like, oh, shit, Doretta's on her way.
They love me and I love them. So I have stuff in my life that, gives me purpose.
Yes.
I have purpose. I'm here to serve. I'm here. You asked, was it hard for me to share my diagnosis? I felt like it was my purpose that I came through what I came through to share, to show other people, see, you could go through all of that and you still could be all right. It's about you showing up for yourself and not really caring about anybody else. And that's not easy for everybody that's living with the virus to share. Or if you're living with whatever. Some people don't want to share they have diabetes.
Right.
I share any damn thing. My husband's like, oh God.
Yeah.
Do you have any freaking secrets to it? No, I don't. Let me think. I don't think so. If it's gonna help somebody, no, I don't.
Yeah. That is amazing to me because a lot of people, myself included, have things that are hard to share. But I think the more you do share, the easier it is to share. And then you see the value in sharing. So you have to kind of get out of your own way because there's somebody, if you think about where you were, and there's somebody that is where you were and how you felt that you were alone or that nobody could understand whatever you were going through. that you wish that somebody would have shared, right? So that you felt some connection to somebody that you could relate to, and that you could, you know, see what's at the other side of this thing if you just keep moving forward. I think that's massively important. And the more people kind of shift their perspective on that, the better off we'll all be, because we can share those experiences and how we feel about it, and know that we're not alone.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I could talk to you for days. So, but I want to take up your whole day. So you do have a free ebook bundle that you're offering that's got 5 daily actions for the newly diagnosed woman. And you give little tips in there.
And inside there's also the 4, I think 4 steps to adversity, overcoming adversity. So it's 2 different.
So two good things there. Two
yes,
good things.
It is.
So, and I will have a link to that on my website,
you.
And contact information too, so that you can get in touch with Doretta, because she is a speaker as well. So if anybody feels that they have a group of people that could benefit from this, and like I said, I think the healthcare industry needs that message of how to deliver. I mean, they probably cover that, but I think hearing it from somebody in person is an important thing too. So you've got lots of people you can touch positively.
Yeah.
In your
life. I said, I have a symposium that I'm a speaker on.
Yeah, that's exciting.
So that's going to be exciting.
That's going to be incredible. Those stories like that, where you see the results of, because so many people don't experience certain things. So all they can do is look at it from the outside. But to hear somebody's story from the inside can be very life-changing, and how they approach things. So that's great. So thank you so much, Doretta, for being here and for us finally connecting, because I'm so glad we did. And I hope that
Could I share with them where they can find my books if they want to?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll put links. If you give me links, I'll put those on there too.
Okay, it's womenwillbloom.com/books.
Okay.
And both of the books are there.
Both of them are there. Okay. So I'll make sure that I put that link there so it's easy to click to. And this is, since you mentioned it, that's good. CherriseBoucher.com/The Inspire View Series 2017 is the page where all this year's interviews are, and quick and easy links to reach out to my guests. And all of them are also available on my YouTube channel. Just you don't get the quick and easy links there, but it's still available. And thank you so much for sharing this super powerful, and I think too overlooked at this point, topic of AIDS, and how it doesn't have to be like this horrific thing that a lot of us remember. This is still a real thing.
Oh yes, it is. People are diagnosed every day.
Yeah. And we don't hear about it. That's what kind of blows my mind, is that it was so prevalent, and now we just don't really hear about it anymore. So it's not really the focus of everybody's attention, but it's still there. So I think that education that you're doing, especially, well, you say a lot, the young and the old are experiencing that, but the young people.
And people of color. Yeah.
That's it's so important to make sure that AIDS awareness is still in the forefront, because it does still exist.
Yeah, because it's not ugly, so they think but it's still here.
Yeah.
And one of the ways, and this is one tip, because we didn't talk about safe sex, but one tip: if you meet somebody and you're new and you want to go to bed with them, you have a quick, it's an over-the-counter test you could take in 20 minutes in your house, and y'all can have a cup of tea and wait to see if it's positive. Now,
that's not very romantic. But
and not just that, because if they just got exposed a couple of days ago, it's not going to test.
Right.
But that's why condoms is the way to go. And nobody likes that. But you have to read up all the ways that you can be exposed. Because if they was exposed 2 days ago or a week ago, sometimes it takes 3 to 4 weeks for you to show that you're positive. So they may not even know. So it's so complicated for testing. You really have to read up on it, or go to my YouTube channel, or just read up on my YouTube channel, or in my Facebook lives, or Just read up on testing and exposure, and you'll learn. Listen, nobody, it's not ugly anymore. That handsome, good smelling guy or that handsome, good smelling girl, they could be carrying it, and you'll never know it. And they may not even know it if they didn't get tested.
Right.
And one of the ways, and this is one tip, because we didn't talk about safe sex, but one tip: if you meet somebody and you're new and you want to go to bed with them, you have a quick, it's a over the counter test you could take in 20 minutes in your house, and y'all can have a cup of tea and wait to see if it's positive. Now,
that's not very romantic. But
and not just that, because if they just got exposed a couple of days ago, it's not going to test.
Right.
But that's why condoms is the way to go. And nobody likes that. But you have to read up all the ways that you can be exposed. Because if they was exposed 2 days ago or a week ago, sometimes it takes 3 to 4 weeks for you to show that you're positive. So they may not even know. So it's so complicated for testing. You really have to read up on it, or go to my YouTube channel, or just read up on my YouTube channel, or in my Facebook lives, or just read up on testing and exposure, and you'll learn. Listen, nobody, it's not ugly anymore. That handsome, good smelling guy or that handsome, good smelling girl, they could be carrying it, and you'll never know it. And they may not even know it if they didn't get tested.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's scary. Because we all think nothing's going to happen to us. That's for other people, right? Everybody thinks that until it happens to you.
Exactly.
And it's easy enough to go buy some condoms.
Very easy. It's everywhere.
Shoot, even Planned Parenthood gives them for free. So,
and that's just that. A lot of barber shops where I live at, they have them. You have stores that they have candy bowls full of condoms.
Yeah.
You can just grab you can go get your own though, but if it comes to shop, listen.
Yeah, it's important.
Grab a handful.
Yeah, you have to take care of your own health because you can't rely on somebody else to do it for you.
Right. That's true.
That's the whole message here, really, is your own health, because you can't rely on anybody else. You'll intuitively, like you mentioned, what works for you for your treatments and everything. So
yeah,
it's a good overall theme. Yeah. Well, again, thank you so much. You can find all the links and stuff to get in touch with Doretta and her books too on my website, CherriseBoucher.com.